Handel's Messiah is nothing that I knew about growing up. About 15 years ago, friends took me to Symphony Hall in Boston for my first ever performance of this masterpiece, which, as you know, highlights hope and points us to God's promise of restoration. The recitative, "Then shall the eyes of the blind be opened and the ears of the deaf unstopped," the prophet Isaiah's words. They're leading me just now back to what happened in Lewiston on October 25th, where among those slain were 4 deaf persons. I'm learning that unstopped ears for deaf and hard of hearing people looks like wide open access to ASL interpreters. I'm not the only one whose consciousness is raised toward the deaf community. And this is exactly why the main council of churches responded by raising money to pay interpreters to serve the scores of deaf people who needed access to information and to support. The need for interpreters hasn't lessened, and there's a link for us to contribute where 100% of our money will be used to give deaf people access. I don't know how many of you are fluent in sign language. And I'm not suggesting necessarily that we make New Year resolutions to learn ASL, because when it comes to starting and sustaining faith communities for deaf people, it's really important for deaf and hard of hearing people to be the leaders. Instead, I'm asking us to join together to value the people whom we don't see, or those who have little or no access. How can I see and appreciate others for whom the prophet Isaiah's dream is also manifest? I'm talking about children and adults with special needs, people with autism, those who are neurodivergent, those who can't read, and those who read Braille. The prophet Isaiah's vision for a restored humanity and a healed earth is amplified not only in Handel's Messiah and with ASL interpreters, but also in each of you. But here's something to note. Did you know that biblical scholars and preachers, including our own Barbara Lundblad, they suggest that this part of Isaiah chapter 35 is inserted in the so-called wrong place? And sure enough, if you look at what's written before chapter 35 and what's written after chapter 35, you'll discover very grim words. Yet here it is in the middle, a word that could not and would not wait until it might make more sense. So we envisage with Isaiah the wilderness and the land being glad and the desert rejoicing and blossoming. We mustn't wait until things get better to share this vision. We have to share it now. So we come to Advent and Christmas this year with images from wars in Ukraine and Israel-Palestine, from the massacre in Lewiston, and yes, anxiety about even the future of democracy in our nation. Let's speak words and use sign language and every other tool that we can to speak a word of hope and glory, even if it feels out of place. Rejoice. Rejoice, take heart. Do not fear. God's chosen one, Emmanuel, draws near. I wish you every blessing of Advent and a glorious celebration of our Lord's incarnation. May God bless you.